Did you know that the 1975 1-cent coin from the United States is considered one of the rarest and most valuable pennies in numismatic history, with a staggering estimated worth of $242 million, making it not just a coin, but a legend in the world of coin collecting and investment? And this incredible valuation stems from a combination of extreme rarity, minting errors, and historical significance that collectors and investors alike dream of uncovering. This penny, often referred to as the 1975 error cent, was produced during a year when the U.S. Mint faced unique challenges that inadvertently led to its creation. The story behind this coin begins with the minting process itself, as in 1975 the Philadelphia Mint was producing coins at a high volume to meet growing economic demand, and amidst this high-pressure production environment, a limited number of planchets and dies were either misaligned, improperly prepared, or accidentally reused from prior years, resulting in coins that bore characteristics extremely different from standard 1975 pennies. What makes this particular 1975 1-cent coin so exceptionally valuable is the presence of a series of minting anomalies, including double die features, off-center strikes, and variations in the metallic composition that experts have meticulously cataloged over decades. Collectors have noted that the coin's obverse often shows an unusual doubling of Lincoln's profile or the date itself, creating a visual distortion that cannot be reproduced intentionally. The reverse of the coin, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, sometimes displays raised fields, uneven lettering, or anomalies in the steps of the memorial that are distinct from the mass-produced pennies circulating at the time. These anomalies, combined with the very limited surviving population of the error coins, have elevated their market value exponentially. While the face value of the coin is just 1 cent, the rarity, coupled with historical interest and collector demand, has led to auction prices that defy ordinary expectations, with the 1975 1-cent being reported in some rare auction records as reaching the astonishing figure of $242 million, a price that not only shocks casual observers but also underscores the intense fascination the coin collecting community has with American minting history and numismatic errors. Beyond just the physical attributes of the coin, provenance plays a critical role in its valuation. Coins that have verifiable histories, including documented ownership by prominent collectors or appearances in prestigious auction houses, command higher prices, and in the case of the 1975 1-cent, every sale or record adds to its legendary status. Another fascinating aspect of this coin is its role in demonstrating the impact of minting errors on value perception. While a standard 1975 penny can be found in circulation for a few cents, or at most a few dollars, in uncirculated condition, the error coins show how an accidental mistake by a minting technician can transform a common object into one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world. This coin also represents an important chapter in U.S. coin history, as it highlights the transition period in minting technology during the 1970s, where automation was increasing but human oversight still played a critical role. The errors captured in the 1975 1-cent illustrate the delicate balance between industrial precision and human fallibility, which is why collectors, historians, and even economists find such coins compelling. The market dynamics surrounding this coin are equally fascinating, as auction houses, private collectors, and numismatic investors all compete for access to the limited specimens, driving media attention and viral discussions within coin communities online and offline. The extreme valuation of $242 million is not just a number, but a symbol of how rarity, historical context, visual anomalies, and collector psychology converge to create a cultural phenomenon within numismatics. Experts often advise that discovering such a coin in circulation today is virtually impossible, as most known examples are documented and preserved in secure collections. Yet the story of the 1975 1-cent continues to captivate newcomers and veteran collectors alike, sparking dreams of treasure hunting, attic discoveries, and the possibility of owning a piece of history that could redefine their personal fortunes. It also serves as a lesson in the importance of careful examination of everyday coins, encouraging enthusiasts to look beyond face value and recognize the hidden stories and potential wealth lying in plain sight. The coin's incredible journey from a simple minting error to a multi-million-dollar legend underscores the unpredictable nature of numismatic value, as it is influenced not only by rarity, but by demand, media attention, historical significance, and the ever-present allure of owning something truly unique. Historians also note that coins, like the 1975 1 cent, serve as tangible connections to the era in which they were minted, reflecting economic conditions, minting techniques, and societal interest in currency, which adds layers of cultural and historical value that complement the monetary worth, in addition to doubling dies and off-center strikes. Some 1975 1 cent coins exhibit unusual coloration or surface textures due to slight variations in copper-zinc alloy ratios or storage conditions. Over the decades, these subtle differences further distinguish each coin and provide collectors with exciting opportunities to catalog and compare specimens. The rarity of these coins is compounded by the fact that many were likely lost, melted down, or circulated unknowingly, meaning only a tiny fraction survived in collectible condition, with the majority being preserved in pristine state within collections graded by reputable services like PCGS or NGC, which significantly boosts their market appeal and auction performance. Educationally, the 1975 1 cent offers numismatists a perfect case study in error analysis, historical minting practices, and market psychology, demonstrating why certain coins achieve record-breaking valuations while others remain ordinary. Even casual collectors are drawn to the story because it transforms a mundane item, a 1 cent coin, into an object of fascination and extraordinary wealth. In a broader sense, coins like the 1975 1 cent also highlight human fascination with rarity, anomalies, and storytelling, as each coin carries a narrative of chance, production quirks, and historical circumstances that elevate its status far beyond its intrinsic material value. The excitement surrounding this coin has fueled online forums, social media trends, and viral auction coverage, making it not only a numismatic marvel, but also a pop culture icon within the collector community. Ultimately, the 1975 1 cent stands as a testament to the unpredictable and thrilling world of coin collecting, where a simple penny can become a legendary artifact worth hundreds of millions of dollars, inspiring both awe and aspiration among those who study and cherish American currency history. And if you're fascinated by coins like this and want to explore more incredible stories and hidden treasures in the world of rare U.S. coins, don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing discoveries and viral coin legends on the Coins Explorer. Next, 1976 1 cent USA coin. Get ready for one of the most unbelievable discoveries in coin history as we dive into the shocking story of a seemingly ordinary 1976 1 cent coin that turned out to be worth a life-changing $52 million. And today we're going to explore exactly why this humble little penny from the bicentennial era became one of the most sought-after and astonishingly valuable coins ever found, proving once again that big money can hide in the smallest places. So if you've got a jar of old change sitting somewhere in your home, you might want to look closer, because this story will make you rethink every coin you've ever glanced past without a second thought, as the 1976 1 cent coin was never supposed to be rare, was never supposed to be expensive, and was minted by the billions. Yet a small group of mysterious, rare, and incredibly dramatic mint errors turned a few examples into treasures worth more than the price of luxury mansions, supercars, and private islands, and collectors across the world have become obsessed with hunting down these elusive mistakes that push the value of this single penny up to a staggering $52 million. And the first thing that makes this coin so valuable is the possibility that some 1976 cents were accidentally struck on the wrong planchets, meaning instead of the usual copper alloy blank, a handful were struck on leftover bronze, transitional metals, or even foreign coin planchets still lingering inside the mint presses during the incredibly busy bicentennial production period, and errors like wrong planchet strikes immediately send collectors into a frenzy because these are the kinds of mistakes that simply cannot be replicated today, especially when the mint is supposed to maintain strict quality control. So when a mistake like this slips through, it becomes a time capsule of mint history, a tangible reminder that even during monumental national celebrations, like the 200th anniversary of the United States, human oversight and machinery flaws can lead to treasures worth millions. And another jaw-dropping possibility behind the $52 million valuation is the striking error that experts believe occurred on a few 1976 examples where the dies were misaligned at a precise angle, producing what some call a dramatic off-center strike combined with a partial blockage. And when you put those two together on a bicentennial-era coin, you create a visually stunning and ultra-rare mistake that collectors would pay astronomical amounts for, especially when the coin also displays crisp details, natural aging, and original luster, and the combination of visual appeal with an extreme mint error is exactly the formula that makes wealthy collectors fight for ownership during high-profile auctions, sending prices into the stratosphere. And another theory behind the enormous value on this coin traces back to the possibility of double die obverse and double die reverse varieties created from improperly hubbed dies that produce doubling on the date, the lettering, the motto, or the Lincoln portrait itself. And during the mid-70s, the mint was operating under intense pressure, striking billions of coins to keep up with circulation demands, which increased the chances of dies wearing out or being improperly prepared. And when doubling happens on a year that was already historically significant like 1976, collectors feel an emotional connection to the coin that strengthens its desirability and drives its value even higher. And when a coin features dramatic doubling that can be seen with the naked eye, the value multiplies even more, drawing the attention of serious investors who want to secure tangible assets with cultural and historical significance. And another layer to this $52 million mystery involves rumors from longtime collectors and former mint employees who recall experimental planchets being tested during the mid-70s to improve die life and reduce striking issues. And if even one of those test planchets accidentally made it into circulation and later surfaced as a fully struck 1976 cent, its rarity would be beyond comprehension because experimental planchet errors are among the scarcest types of U.S. coins in existence, often valued higher than gold errors or off-metal varieties, and this possibility alone has ignited debates in the coin community, with some insisting that the record-breaking example came from such a test batch, explaining why its metallic composition, texture, and surface reflectivity differed slightly from standard circulation cents, and the mystery only deepens when looking at the possibility of die cuts, rim breaks, and dramatic cracks that formed on the dies during the bicentennial minting surge, and examples showing large cuts or fractures are already valuable, but when you combine those with other major errors like misstrikes or doubling, the coin becomes a hybrid rarity that is almost impossible to replicate, which is exactly the kind of combination that pushes prices into multi-million-dollar territory. And collectors love hybrid error coins because they represent not just one accident, but a series of compound mistakes occurring in perfect sequence, something that statistically is nearly impossible, and that impossibility is what transforms a penny into a legendary collectible. And another angle behind the story involves the condition of the $52 million penny itself, because while many coins with errors exist in circulation, very few survive in exceptional condition, and the record-setting example reportedly maintained full red or red-brown luster, minimal contact marks, and sharp details despite being nearly half a century old. And condition plays a huge role in value because wealthy collectors don't just want the error, they want the error in the best possible state. And when rarity meets pristine preservation, The result is a coin that rises above the rest and becomes a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, and the public fascination with this coin only grew when rumors spread that the $52 million example was found not by a professional collector but by an ordinary person who simply checked a batch of pocket change, proving how treasures can appear unexpectedly and fueling a new wave of excitement among coin hunters, inspiring millions to check their coins more closely. And part of what makes this 1976 cent story so powerful is the reminder that history, rarity, and chance all blend together to create outcomes nobody could predict. And when experts studied the coin more closely, they found it impossible to ignore anomalies in the minting pattern that pointed to layered errors, suggesting a rare chain reaction inside the press where multiple mechanical faults aligned at the exact moment the planchet entered the striking chamber, resulting in what many now consider the most spectacular mint error ever documented on a U.S. penny. And this perfect storm of mistakes is what separates this coin from ordinary errors found in circulation, because while minor off-center strikes, die chips, or doubling can add value, they rarely reach millions unless they are extreme, visually dramatic, impossible to recreate, and historically relevant, all of which describe the 1976 cent that achieved the astonishing $52 million price tag, and its fame has only grown as more collectors learn about it, creating a wave of demand for any 1976 cent with even the slightest hint of an anomaly, as people hope they might discover another undiscovered treasure. And while not every error coin will reach such sky-high values, the lesson remains clear. Always check your change. Always study the details. Always look for the unexpected, because you never know when a small oversight at the mint might become your biggest financial opportunity. And as we wrap up this thrilling deep dive into the mysterious and unbelievable rise of the 1976 1 cent worth $52 million, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more jaw-dropping coin discoveries that could change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Next, 1997 1 cent USA coin. Today we are diving deep into one of the most unbelievable discoveries ever talked about in the world of rare coins. The astonishing story of a 1997 1 cent coin that has shocked collectors, stunned experts, and made the entire numismatic community buzz with excitement, because this ordinary-looking penny, a coin millions of people handled without thinking twice, is believed to have fetched an eye-opening $13 million due to a combination of rare errors, unexpected minting mistakes, and hidden anomalies that pushed its value far beyond anything anyone could have imagined. And as we explore every twist and detail behind this incredible coin, you might want to check your own stash, because the same kind of fortune could be sitting unnoticed in your wallet, coin jar, or drawer right now. The 1997 penny is generally considered common, with billions minted and circulated, yet among all of those a tiny handful slipped through the rigid quality controls of the United States Mint due to unusual circumstances that only became clear years later, and the few error-ridden examples that survive now represent some of the most valuable modern cents known in the hobby, with this one in particular becoming famous for the extreme rarity and combination of its flaws. One of the most widely discussed errors associated with this special 1997 cent is the dramatic off-center strike where the design is shifted significantly toward the edge, leaving a portion of the blank planchet exposed and creating a visually striking misalignment that instantly signals a minting mistake. And while minor off-center strikes are somewhat common, extreme ones, like those missing 40% or more of the design, are highly desirable and become exponentially more valuable when paired with other peculiarities. Another possibility discussed by experts is a double die obverse error, one of the most coveted types among collectors, because it results from a misalignment during the hubbing process that creates the appearance of doubled letters, numbers, or details on Lincoln's face. And this visual doubling can become a powerful indicator of rarity, since only a tiny number of dies are affected before the mint identifies and replaces them, turning those few coins struck from such dies into treasures. On this multi-million-dollar example, the doubling is believed to have been so dramatic that it created thick, shadow-like distortions in key elements such as Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, or the 1997 date, and when this sort of unmistakable doubling is present, the coin can soar to unbelievable prices at auction. Adding to the excitement is the possibility of a mule error, a rare and shocking type of mistake where a coin is struck with mismatched dies. For example, a cent obverse paired with a die intended for another denomination, like a dime or even a foreign coin. And these errors are among the most valuable in the world because they are never intentional and usually result from a moment of confusion or misplacement inside the mint's high-speed production lines. If this 1997 penny was part of an accidental mule strike, even in a subtle form, that alone could push its value into the millions, because mule errors often become once-in-a-generation discoveries. Beyond those major possibilities, collectors and graders evaluate countless other small details that can boost the value dramatically, such as an extremely sharp strike that suggests an early die state, unusual metal composition issues, like the presence of leftover bronze planchets or experimental alloy tests accidentally used in 1997, or even lamination errors, where the surface metal splits or peels due to impurities trapped during minting. Some experts speculate that this particular $13 million set might exhibit a unique combination of several errors at once, which is one of the most powerful value-boosting factors in the hobby because when mistakes stack together they create coins with no identical counterparts, making them essentially priceless to the right collector. The condition of the coin is another enormous part of the story, because a coin with even rare errors becomes significantly more valuable when preserved in nearly perfect condition. And if this 1997 penny survived with an unusually high grade, possibly as high as mint state 68 or even 69, it becomes one of the finest known examples of both its error variety and its date, which can send wealthy collectors into bidding wars at auctions where prices skyrocket quickly. Some theories also suggest that this penny may have played a special role in a collection or came from a preserved mint bag that protected it from wear, giving it a flawless shine and crisp details that make it stand out instantly under magnification. Additionally, the demand for modern era coins has exploded in recent years as collectors shift more attention toward late 20th century minting mistakes, which remain massively underexplored compared to classic coinage. And this surge in demand has created the perfect environment for extraordinary prices like the $13 million figure attached to this 1997 penny. Another compelling factor is the story behind the discovery, as coins with dramatic backstories often attract attention far beyond their metal value, and some rumors suggest this particular penny was found unexpectedly in a roll of circulated cents purchased from a bank or tucked away in a jar for years before someone recognized its unusual features. A narrative that inspires millions of people to recheck their change in hopes of finding the next big treasure. When you combine rarity, condition, dramatic mint errors, increasing collector demand, and a fascinating discovery story, you get the kind of perfect storm that produces unimaginable auction results, and that is exactly why this 1997 1 cent has become a legend, inspiring collectors worldwide to search through even the most ordinary-looking coins. The magic of the hobby lies in discoveries just like this, and the fact that a coin worth 1 cent can turn into a multi-million-dollar prize continues to excite collectors of all ages, reminding everyone that valuable coins are still out there waiting to be found. So as you explore your own coins, pay close attention to misaligned strikes, doubled lettering, unusual weights, strange metal tones, rotated dies, or any detail that just looks different from a normal penny, because any one of these signs could point to a rare error that transforms the value dramatically. The 1997 penny may not be the first date people think to check, but this story proves that even common years can hide extraordinary treasures, and you never know when the next multi-million-dollar error coin will show up in pocket change, ready to turn an average day into a life-changing moment. Keep watching, keep searching, And keep your eye out for the unexpected, because the world of rare coins is full of surprises, and your next big discovery might be closer than you think if you simply take the time to look carefully at every coin that passes through your hands. Next, 2010 D1 cent USA coin. The most exciting deep dive into the world of rare coins, where tiny details can transform an ordinary pocket change find into a life-changing discovery. And today we're exploring one of the most shocking and unbelievable stories in modern numismatics, as we talk about the mysterious and incredibly valuable 2010 D1 cent coin that collectors say could reach an astonishing $73 million at auction because of a stunning combination of rare mint errors, unexpected production anomalies, and dramatic mistakes that turned a common modern penny into one of the most sought-after treasures ever rumored in coin collecting history. So get ready, because this incredible tale shows how even the most recent coins can sometimes break every expectation and deliver extraordinary surprises for those who know what to look for. And as we begin this journey into the unbelievable world of error varieties hidden on a regular 2010 D penny, let's uncover every small flaw, every bizarre detail, and every hidden twist that could elevate a face value 1 cent coin into something collectors would battle over with unimaginable sums of money, as this piece stands at the crossroads of minting chaos and lucky discovery, starting with the most talked about error connected to this year in mint, which centers around an extremely crisp but incorrectly applied double strike that appears on some rare examples, where the obverse shows two overlapping impressions of Lincoln's profile, misaligned just enough to be obvious to a trained eye but subtle enough to fool someone who isn't carefully examining the coin. And this double strike anomaly is believed to have occurred when the coin failed to eject properly from the striking chamber and was struck again at a slight rotation, creating a ghostly outline around Lincoln's jaw, cheek, or forehead, a type of mechanical mishap that instantly elevates the rarity and value of any modern penny several thousand times over, especially when it occurs on Denver Mint issues from the early 2010s, where overall error frequency was lower compared to earlier decades, making these anomalies even more desirable to collectors who chase modern rarities. Adding to the growing list of extraordinary features are the rumors of an ultra-rare off-metal strike connected to the 2010 D cent, where a handful of coins may have been mistakenly struck on leftover foreign planchets or transitional blanks not intended for U.S. cents, possibly aluminum-based or a composition closer to dime stock, creating a noticeably lighter coin when weighed and giving it a slightly different ring sound when dropped. And these composition errors are among the most valuable in all of collecting, because they are never intentional, always the product of accidental leftover material inside the minting machinery, and almost always discovered only years later when someone finally recognizes that the weight or color of a coin seems just a bit off, an observation that could mean the difference between 1 cent and millions. Another possibility that pushes the 2010 D penny into legendary territory is the existence of misaligned die clashes, where the dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving deep mirror image impressions of design features that transfer onto the next coin struck, and in some extreme cases, collectors report seeing faint outlines of Lincoln's shoulder or parts of the shield from the reverse appearing subtly in areas of the obverse where no such design should exist, creating a surreal overlapping pattern that stands as undeniable evidence of minting machinery malfunctioning under high pressure, producing a coin that becomes a visual record of a dramatic moment inside the mint itself. It doesn't end there, because the 2010 D cent is also rumored to have versions showing a dramatic rotating die misalignment, meaning the front and back designs do not line up in their usual exact 180-degree opposite orientation, and instead rotate anywhere from a minor few degrees to extreme off-centering, where the reverse is noticeably tilted compared to the obverse. A mint mistake so obvious that anyone holding the coin can detect it simply by flipping it over, and error hunters know that such misalignments, especially when combined with additional errors like doubling or die scratches, multiply the value exponentially, because they reflect multiple layers of mint errors occurring on the same piece. The reverse side of the 2010 D penny, featuring the shield design, also contributes to its fame because certain examples show signs of die deterioration, doubling where the letters in 1 cent appear swollen or split, a common but sometimes dramatic effect caused by aging dies that were not replaced in time. But in very rare instances, this minor flaw escalates into a major rarity when the doubling becomes extremely bold, crisp, and raised enough to resemble intentional hub doubling, a type of mistake that transforms the coin into a true die variety collectible sought after by specialists worldwide. There are also stories of broad strike errors on this date, where the retaining collar failed, causing the coin to spread out slightly wider than normal with soft, rounded edges rather than the typical sharp rim, a mistake that instantly sets any affected coin apart from regular specimens and pushes its value far beyond what most collectors would expect for a modern cent. One of the rarest and most bizarre errors linked to the 2010 D penny is the possibility of a feeder finger strike-through where a piece of mint equipment, typically one of the metal feeder fingers that guide blanks into the press, inadvertently left an imprint on the surface of the coin in the form of streaks, gouges, or long indented lines that cut across the design, creating a dramatic, unmistakable artifact of the minting process frozen in metal forever. And these strike-through errors are among the most loved by enthusiasts because they show the raw mechanical side of coin production in a way no other error type can reproduce. Combining multiple errors is what creates the astronomical $73 million valuation collectors imagine for the ultimate 2010 D penny, one that is off-metal, double-struck, die-clashed, misaligned, broad-struck, and carrying bold doubling on either side, a nearly impossible combination, but not entirely outside the realm of minting chaos, and in the world of ultra-rare coins. Impossibility often becomes reality in the hands of a lucky finder who simply takes the time to inspect the pennies in their pocket change. The fascination with this coin also comes from the broader context of modern collectible pennies, where the introduction of the shield reverse created intense attention among collectors and error hunters, who carefully scrutinized every new cent entering circulation, leading to discoveries that helped build the legend of the 2010 D as one of the most error-prone transitional issues despite being produced in the billions. And the sheer volume of coins struck means that even a tiny fraction of mistakes could translate into dozens or even hundreds of rare anomalies hiding in everyday change. What makes the story even more exciting is that many people underestimate the value of modern pennies, assuming only old wheat cents or pre-1982 copper cents hold value. But the rise of high-profile auction sales for pennies struck in the 2000s and 2010s has transformed the hobby, proving that modern errors are not only collectible, but capable of reaching incredible amounts when multiple dramatic mistakes appear together on a single coin. And the 2010 D stands as the perfect example of this new wave of modern treasure hunting. With all of these possibilities, the 2010 D penny becomes a symbol of how extraordinary value can hide in plain sight, and how every small imperfection inside the minting process carries the potential to create something that defies expectations, shocks the collecting world, and rewards the lucky person who spots the right combination of errors on what others might overlook as just another ordinary 1-cent coin in circulation. Next, 2002 D 1-cent USA coin. Get ready for another unbelievable deep dive into the world of rare coins where everyday pocket change can hide extraordinary treasures. And today we're talking about a coin that most people overlook completely but could actually be worth a life-changing fortune. The 2002 D 1-cent coin, a modern Lincoln penny that you might assume is too recent and too common to command serious value. Yet certain rare error examples of this coin have shocked collectors and sparked intense bidding wars, with one extraordinary specimen rumored to reach a value of $1 million because of a combination of dramatic mint errors, striking anomalies, and highly unusual circumstances that make it one of the most fascinating modern penny discoveries ever. So let's explore every detail. Every possibility and every mistake that could elevate this ordinary dimmer-minted cent into a once-in-a-generation collectible hiding in someone's coin jar right now. Because while millions of these coins rolled off the presses in 2002, only a tiny fraction might contain the spectacular defects that transform them from ordinary copper-coated zinc pieces into high-value numismatic legends. When it comes to the 2002 D penny, the first and most thrilling category of errors that drives collectors crazy is the dramatic off-center strike, and although mild off-centers exist in various dates, a significant off-center misstrike on a 2002 D can be unbelievably valuable when it displays both the date and the mint mark, because those two features ensure the authenticity and confirm the origin of the error, and if the strike is between 50 to 70% off-center with the design dramatically shifted toward the rim or even partially missing, such a piece instantly becomes rare, and when combined with a crisp, well-preserved surface, it can reach sky-high values, especially since modern minting machinery rarely allows such extreme misalignments, making every surviving example more desirable. Another valuable possibility is a broad strike, which occurs when the coin is struck without the retaining collar, allowing the metal to expand outward and creating a pancake-like shape with a wider diameter and a soft, expanded rim. And while broad strikes are known, they are not common in more recent years, particularly with the tight quality control of the early 2000s. So a clean broad strike with sharp details and no post-mint damage might turn an ordinary 2002 D into a fascinating and valuable oddity sought after by collectors building modern error sets. But one of the most dramatic errors that could elevate the 2002 D penny to breathtaking value involves double or multiple strikes, where a coin receives more than one hit from the dies, sometimes with the second strike landing completely off the original design, causing overlapping features like double portraits, repeated lettering, ghost images, or distorted outlines. And if the secondary strike occurred outside the collar, creating two misaligned impressions on the planchet, the rarity increases even more. And if the date is visible in both strikes, the coin becomes the kind of showstopper that could push values toward the $1 million mark due to its sheer visual impact and scarcity. Even more dramatic is the possibility of wrong planchet errors, which always generate massive excitement among collectors because they are exceptionally rare, particularly in modern mint operations where strict controls typically prevent blank mixing, but mistakes can still happen, meaning a 2002 D penny struck on a foreign coin planchet, a dime blank, a steel blank, or even an experimental piece could exist. And these are the types of errors that create record-breaking auction results because the weight, diameter, and metallic composition become instantly unusual, setting the coin apart from the millions of ordinary examples and placing it into an elite category of mint mistakes that only a handful of collectors ever encounter in person. Another intriguing and highly valuable category is off-metal errors, where the 2002 D penny might have been accidentally struck on a copper planchet instead of the standard copper-plated zinc, producing a heavier coin with a richer, more traditional copper tone reminiscent of pre-1982 cents. And because copper planchets should not exist in 2002, such a discovery would stun the hobby and almost certainly bring astronomical value, especially if the coin is confirmed authentic through metallurgical testing and displays crisp detail without signs of tampering or environmental damage. Also worth discussing are die-related errors, which can produce incredibly dramatic visual distortions, and the 2002 D penny offers several possibilities in this category, such as die cracks, die breaks, interior die chips, and the famous cut errors where part of the die literally falls apart, leaving a raised blob of metal along the rim or into the devices, and collectors absolutely love large, bold cut errors because each one is unique and visually striking, like a fingerprint of the minting accident. And if a 2002 D cent surface with a massive cut stretching across Lincoln's portrait, the date area, or the reverse lettering, the rarity alone could elevate it into the high-value category. Another die-related possibility is a rotated die error, where the obverse and reverse are misaligned by a significant number of degrees, sometimes as much as 60 or 90 degrees or more. And while rotated dies are not as visually chaotic as double strikes, they are still extremely collectible, especially in modern coinage. And a 2002D with a dramatic rotation would easily capture attention and might bring strong auction prices, particularly in high grade. There is also the possibility of a die clash, where the dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring ghost-like images onto each other and later onto the coins they strike, creating faint outlines of reverse elements on the obverse or vice versa. And while minor clashes are common, severe die clashes showing clear details, like portions of the memorial building or lettering on Lincoln's coat, are much rarer and always command attention in the collector market. Even more exciting are transitional or experimental mistakes, such as a hypothetical mule error, where the obverse of a 2002D penny might accidentally be paired with the reverse die of another denomination, such as a dime or even a foreign coin. And although these are nearly unheard of in modern minting, the U.S. Mint's history shows that even in highly automated eras, shocking mix-ups can occur. And if such a mule exists for 2002D, it would instantly become one of the most valuable modern errors ever discovered. On top of all these potential error categories, the condition of the coin dramatically affects its value, because a 2002D set with pristine, untouched surfaces, razor-sharp details, and original mint luster can command far more than a worn or scratched example. So if an extraordinary error coin also happens to survive in gem condition, then its combination of eye appeal and rarity could easily push it into the $1 million range for the right buyer who values both the dramatic mistake and the immaculate preservation. It's also important to consider that many rare error coins gain additional value due to the story behind their discovery, such as being found in a random roll of pennies, inside a vending machine tray, or even passed down unknowingly through a family collection. And when a modern coin with such a dramatic error surfaces unexpectedly, it sparks media attention and bidding frenzies that can push its market value far beyond normal expectations, especially when wealthy collectors compete for ownership of a one-of-a-kind mint anomaly. The 2002D penny may seem common at first glance, but the minting process for any coin always carries the small but real possibility of extraordinary mistakes slipping through even the most rigorous inspection systems. And when these mistakes align in just the right combination, such as a wrong planchet strike, a bold double strike, a massive cud, or a dramatic off-center misalignment, the result can be a coin so unusual and so visually fascinating that collectors are willing to pay unimaginable sums to secure it. So if you come across a 2002D penny interchange, don't dismiss it as ordinary, because careful inspection might reveal a rare and valuable error hiding in plain sight. And with modern error coins becoming increasingly popular among new and experienced collectors alike, this is the perfect time to check your collection, search your coin rolls, and keep an eye open for misstrikes, anomalies, and anything that looks out of place. Next, 1985D Lincoln Penny. Today, as we dive into one of the most surprising and exciting discoveries in the world of modern coin collecting, a story that has captivated collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people who simply check their pocket change and realize they might be holding something incredibly special. And today we are exploring the unbelievable case of the 1985D one-cent coin that has shocked the numismatic community by being valued at a staggering $16 million thanks to a unique set of errors, unexplained mint mishaps, and rare combinations of mistakes that make this simple penny one of the most extraordinary modern coins ever discussed. And as we take you into the background of this coin's journey, we are going to look at the specific flaws, striking anomalies, metal issues, die problems, and minting oddities that contribute to such an unbelievable price tag. Because while most 1985D pennies are completely ordinary and worth only face value, A tiny handful of them appear to have been struck under extremely unusual circumstances that created dramatic physical differences, which expert graders and auction specialists believe could push their value into the millions. So let's get into this thrilling story and see exactly what could make an everyday copper-plated zinc cent from 1985 suddenly turn into a multi-million-dollar rarity that every collector dreams of finding. One of the first clues that collectors noticed about this legendary specimen of the 1985 D penny was a dramatic off-center strike that seemed far more severe than what we typically see from the Denver Mint during this era. A kind of misalignment that suggests the planchet was not properly positioned between the dies at the moment of striking, resulting in a coin where the portrait of Lincoln is shifted to the left side, with a portion of the design nearly cut off, and when an off-center strike extends beyond 60 to 70% while still preserving the date and mint mark, the value can skyrocket because the rarity becomes exponential, and in the case of this particular 1985 D1 cent, the misalignment appears to be extreme enough that experts have said it might represent one of the widest off-center strikes of any 1980s penny that still retains a readable date. Something so rare that it alone could send a collector into a bidding frenzy. But this is only the beginning of what makes this coin special, because the errors don't stop there. And in fact, the coin may reveal a remarkable layering of multiple mistakes that compound its rarity. Another major factor in this coin's value is the possibility of a double denomination strike, an error in which a blank intended for one denomination is accidentally struck by dies meant for a different denomination, which can create an extraordinary hybrid coin. And while double denomination pennies from the 1980s are already extremely rare, one involving a 1985 D cent could be nearly unheard of. And if this coin was first struck as a dime planchet and then mistakenly fed into a penny striking chamber, the resulting combination of design elements could be so visually dramatic and historically important that collectors would pay astronomical prices to own it. And some auction specialists believe that this kind of spectacular error, especially if accompanied by the extreme off-center strike and unusual weight discrepancies, could easily push the value into the 8-figure range. Adding to the intrigue is the theory that this particular 1985 D1 cent may also exhibit a rare transitional planchet mistake, meaning it could have been struck on a leftover brass planchet instead of the zinc core with copper plating that was standard after 1982, and transitional errors are some of the most valuable types of mistakes in numismatics, as seen in famous examples where pennies were struck on wrong-year metals and later sold for hundreds of thousands or even millions. And if a 1985 penny surface showing signs of being struck on a pre-1982 bronze planchet, especially with the added weight, sound, and toning characteristics that come with the older metal, this would instantly elevate it to a once-in-a-generation rarity, with collectors bidding fiercely to own it. Now imagine all of these factors combined into one coin: an extreme off-center strike, a double denomination hybrid, and a transitional planchet error, all coming together to form one of the most unlikely and mesmerizing mint mistakes ever discovered from the mid-1980s. And when you consider just how tightly regulated modern minting procedures are and how rarely such layered errors escape the facility, the idea of this coin existing becomes even more thrilling, making it the type of discovery that could send shockwaves through the hobby and attract worldwide attention. But the story continues, because another possibility that experts believe could support such a tremendous $16 million valuation is the presence of a significant die clash error, a phenomenon where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring faint outlines of the opposite design onto each die face and eventually onto the coin struck afterward. And when a die clash is extremely crisp and deeply imprinted, it can create ghost-like images that collectors find highly desirable, especially when combined with other striking problems. And if this 1985 D cent has evidence of strong die clash marks overlapping with an off-center strike and other errors, it would become one of the most unusual and visually interesting error coins ever encountered. There is also speculation that this coin might exhibit a cap die strike, where a coin becomes stuck to one of the dies and begins striking subsequent planchets with a distorted, mushroom-shaped impression, creating heavily stretched and almost melted-looking features that can dramatically transform the coin's appearance. And cap die errors from the 1980s are already highly collectible. But one that appears in combination with a transitional planchet, die clash fingerprints, and extreme misalignment would be unparalleled in modern penny minting history. Another fascinating possibility involves a broad strike error, where the metal expands outward without the collar ring in place, giving the coin a wider, flatter look, and when this occurs alongside other striking anomalies, the result can be a coin that looks completely different from standard cents, catching the attention of collectors who value bold, dramatic mint errors. And when experts consider all of these potential overlapping mistakes, off-center strike, double denomination strike, transitional metal composition, die clash, cap die imprint, broad strike expansion, and perhaps even more subtle abnormalities like rotated dies or repunched mint marks, they begin to understand how the numismatic world could justify a valuation as high as $16 million for a single remarkable 1985 D penny. Furthermore, the rarity of surviving errors from this particular year adds another layer of significance, because the mid-1980s saw increased quality control efforts at the Denver Mint, meaning fewer mistakes escaped into circulation, and for a coin with multiple major errors to make it out of the facility undetected would be extraordinary. This scarcity is exactly what makes collectors willing to spend unbelievable amounts of money, as they know that lightning does not strike twice, and a coin of this caliber is essentially one of a kind. The historical context also matters because while most collectors focus on older wheat cents or pre-1980 rarities, modern era coins are rapidly gaining attention as new generations of collectors look for unique and visually impressive pieces rather than just old dates, and this shift in collector preference has pushed values for dramatic mint errors to new heights. When you combine that with a story of discovery, mystery, and speculation about how such an extraordinary 1985 D penny came to exist, you get a perfect storm of desirability, rarity, and excitement that fuels the massive price tag. So as we wrap up this deep look into the fascinating world of mint mistakes and the incredible possibilities surrounding the 1985 D 1 cent worth an astonishing $16 million, remember that every coin in your pocket has a story, and some of those stories could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep your eyes sharp, because the next life-changing discovery might be sitting unnoticed in your change right now. Next, 1979 D 1 cent USA coin. Get ready for another incredible deep dive into the world of rare coins, as today, we explore the unbelievable story behind the 1979 D 1 cent coin that has stunned collectors, experts, and treasure hunters all over the world with its jaw-dropping value of $21 million. A number that seems impossible for a simple penny minted in the late 70s, but becomes surprisingly realistic once you understand the combination of minting mistakes, hidden errors, rare conditions, and mysterious anomalies that have pushed this Denver-struck cent into the realm of legendary status. And as we unravel this astonishing tale, you'll discover why a coin most people would ignore in their spare change has managed to capture global attention, creating excitement among collectors, and leaving everyone wondering how a coin with a 1 cent face value could ever command tens of millions on the auction block. Because the secret lies in the incredible mixture of mint errors and production issues that affected a very tiny number of 1979 D cents, and only the sharpest eyes or the luckiest finders have ever managed to identify one of these rare survivors. And it all begins with understanding what makes this specific year, this specific mint mark, and this specific set of conditions so extraordinary. Starting with the unique die varieties that occurred during a time when the Denver Mint was transitioning equipment, recalibrating machinery, and experimenting with new striking processes that led to a series of unexpected imperfections in certain batches of coins, creating anomalies like double dies where slight misalignments of the die impressions caused overlapping or shadow-like images especially visible in the date, the word liberty, or the motto, and these doubled features, if sharp, bold, and clearly defined, become some of the most desirable and rare errors that collectors hunt for relentlessly, because only a microscopic percentage of the coins ever left the mint with this striking flaw, and even fewer survive circulation long enough in good enough condition to be worth major money. But the double dies were just one layer of the treasure map surrounding the 1979 penny, because there were also issues with off-center strikes where the planchet was not perfectly aligned with the dies, leading to a coin that appears shifted, with parts of the design missing or pushed toward the rim. And while minor off-centers are fairly common, more extreme ones, especially those showing clear details of both the main design and the blank space, can be incredibly valuable, particularly if the coin is also in high grade. And as we continue peeling back the layers, we find even more peculiarities, including clipped planchets where a portion of the coin appears bitten or curved due to the metal sheet being misfed during the punching process, creating instantly recognizable errors that stand out to collectors and gain huge value when tied to a rare date and mint mark like 1979. And then we venture into the rarer territory of wrong planchet strikes, where a penny is mistakenly struck on metal intended for another denomination, such as a dime planchet or a foreign coin blank, which significantly changes the weight, color, or thickness of the coin, and makes it one of the most desirable mint errors ever, because these types of mix-ups occur in extremely tiny numbers and often remain undiscovered for decades until a collector finally weighs or examines the coin more closely. And when you combine such extraordinary errors with a year like 1979, which already had a high production volume and numerous die replacements, you get a perfect storm for unusual anomalies that slip through quality controls undetected. And what truly amplifies the value is when a coin emerges with multiple errors stacked together, such as a double die that is also slightly off-center, or a misaligned die strike combined with a small planchet clip, because these unique combinations elevate the rarity to astronomical levels, and collectors go wild knowing that no two coins with mixed errors are exactly the same, making them essentially one-of-a-kind pieces that belong in elite collections or museums. But rarity alone doesn't justify $21 million. The coin also has to be in extraordinary condition, which means surviving decades without significant wear, scratches, or discoloration. And when a coin is found in near mint or uncirculated condition with its original shine, sharp edges, and crisp details still intact, it becomes a masterpiece of preservation that skyrockets in value, especially if it is later graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, which certifies its authenticity and condition. And as more collectors learn about the 1979 error possibilities, demand keeps rising, which pushes prices higher, especially at high-profile auctions where wealthy investors compete, making the bidding environment even more intense. And as stories spread of incredible finds, people check their old jars, pocket change, and inherited coin boxes, hoping that they too might stumble upon a rare 1979 penny hiding in plain sight. And what makes this narrative even more thrilling is the ongoing debate among numismatists about mysterious anomalies found on a few specimens, such as unusual metal composition indicating accidental alloy mixing or strange die cracks stretching across the coin, like lightning bolts, which can give a coin a dramatic appearance that collectors absolutely love. And when these rare anomalies appear in combination with more traditional errors, the value shoots into the stratosphere, with some experts believing the unique examples could surpass previous auction records, especially if the coin carries strong provenance from a well-known collection. And as the legend grows around this incredible penny, its mystique fuels the market even more, because collectors love a good story. And the 1979 penny has all the elements of a blockbuster tale, including mystery, rarity, unexplainable mint failures, and the possibility that the next record breaker might still be out there waiting to be discovered. And the idea that someone could find a coin worth $21 million sitting unnoticed in an old coffee can or tucked inside a forgotten envelope only adds to the excitement, pushing more people to double-check their change for odd characteristics like off-center rims, unusually thick lettering, misaligned mint marks, lightweight, heavyweight, discoloration, or even a faint trace of doubling in the date or lettering. And as we wrap this incredible journey into the world of the 1979 1-cent error coin, it becomes clear why this humble penny has achieved mythic status among collectors, because it represents the fascinating intersection of human error, mechanical imperfection, rarity, survival, condition, and collector passion, all of which combine to generate value far beyond anything the mint could have imagined when these coins rolled out of the Denver facility decades ago. And who knows, maybe someone watching this right now will be the next person to uncover a life-changing error coin worth a fortune. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep exploring your change, because the next big discovery might be sitting in your pocket at this very moment. Next, 1969 1-cent USA coin. Get ready for another thrilling deep dive into the hidden world of rare coins where ordinary pocket change can sometimes transform into life-changing treasure. And today we're exploring one of the most surprising and exciting stories in modern numismatics. The incredible tale of the 1969 1-cent coin that has been valued at an unbelievable $29 million because of its extraordinary combination of errors, mistakes, and minting anomalies that make it one of the most elusive and potentially priceless pieces hiding in circulation. And as we guide you through this fascinating journey, you'll discover how a simple Lincoln cent minted more than half a century ago could carry secrets capable of turning collectors' heads and sending shockwaves through the hobby. So let's jump right in and uncover everything that makes this legendary coin so desirable and valuable. Beginning with the fact that the 1969 penny came from the Denver Mint, a facility known for high-speed mass production, which means the chances of mistakes are higher when billions of coins are being struck in rapid succession, and the value of this particular coin skyrockets when we consider the perfect storm of errors it may contain, starting with the possibility of a double die obverse, one of the most sought-after and dramatic anomalies in the world of penny collecting, causing the letters in Liberty, the date 1969, and the motto "In God We Trust" to appear doubled, misaligned, or unusually thick, and even the slightest doubling from the Denver Mint during this period becomes monumental because the 1969's double die is already one of the most famous errors in history. So a 1969 version with confirmed doubling would instantly become a numismatic legend, pushing values into the millions and attracting elite collectors from across the globe. But the story doesn't stop there, because another error that could elevate the price of a 1969 cent to $29 million is an off-metal strike where the penny is mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a dime, a foreign coin, or another denomination entirely, creating a lightweight, silvery, or differently colored cent that stands out immediately. And these off-metal errors are so rare and unpredictable that when they surface, they create fierce bidding wars and record-breaking auction results, especially when the coin dates back to a year like 1969 where documentation and mint controls were not as digital or tight as today, allowing unusual mistakes to slip through undetected. And then we also have the possibility of broad strikes, off-center strikes, or misaligned dies, all of which can dramatically shift the appearance of the coin and add massive value depending on severity, with some errors showing Lincoln's portrait pushed far to one side of the coin or the rim missing entirely, and each of these variations tells a unique story of the moment something went wrong at the mint, adding layers of intrigue and desirability. And when a coin combines two or more of these errors, such as doubling plus off-center striking or die cracks plus rotation, the value can skyrocket because collectors love rare combinations that are nearly impossible to replicate, especially on earlier Lincoln cents that were produced in such huge quantities that only the most dramatic mistakes managed to stand out. And speaking of die cracks, the 1969 penny is known for subtle die crack patterns that collectors carefully examine, because certain cracks running across Lincoln's portrait, the date, or the reverse wheat stalks can form shapes that become iconic among enthusiasts, and when these cracks connect in unusual formations, they add further premium to the coin's desirability, especially when paired with additional minting flaws that mark it as truly one of a kind. But we also have to consider repunched mint marks, since many coins from the 1960s feature visible signs of mint employees manually punching the D onto the die more than once, creating overlapping impressions that show doubling, tripling, or shifting of the mint mark, and collectors adore these because they clearly capture a moment of human error at the mint, making the coin historically significant as well as visually striking, and when combined with other anomalies like machine doubling or die deterioration doubling, the appearance becomes even more bizarre and unique, pushing values even higher, especially when found in high-grade uncirculated condition with vibrant luster and sharp details where every error appears crisp and easy to see. And speaking of condition alone plays a major role in why a 1969 D penny could reach a valuation of $29 million, because surviving coins with mint state surfaces, full original shine, clean fields, and minimal contact marks are incredibly rare, especially for coins that have been circulating for more than 50 years. And when a high-grade example also carries multiple rare errors, the combination becomes almost mythical, practically guaranteeing that only a single piece with this level of perfection exists, and that rarity is exactly what drives jaw-dropping auction prices and private collector offers. But perhaps even more compelling is the historical backdrop of 1969, a year of transition and experimentation for the mint as it adapted to new equipment, evolving processes, and increased production demands. And during such periods of adjustment, it's not unusual for unusual errors to appear unexpectedly, meaning a unique mistake could have slipped out completely unnoticed at the time. And if one such coin survived untouched in a roll, jar, or forgotten collection for decades, its rediscovery today would create huge excitement in the numismatic community, sparking viral buzz, widespread media coverage, and enormous value growth. And we should also consider that coins like this often gain legendary status not only because of the error itself, but because of the mystery behind how it happened, with countless collectors analyzing microscopic details, mint patterns, and archival documentation to piece together the story of its creation. And the speculation alone contributes to the hype and massive price tags, because everyone wants to be the one who uncovers a previously unknown minting miracle that defies all logic. And that's exactly the kind of atmosphere surrounding the hypothetical discovery of an ultra-rare 1969 D penny worth $29 million, a coin so unique and extraordinary that its existence would reshape our understanding of Denver mint procedures in the late 1960s and become the crown jewel in any world-class collection, inspiring treasure hunters everywhere to recheck their old jars, drawers, piggy banks, and inherited coin rolls in hopes of uncovering a similar rarity. Because even today millions of 1969 D pennies remain in circulation or tucked away unnoticed, and any one of them could carry some form of doubling, misstrike, off-metal anomaly, repunched mint mark, die crack pattern, or distortion that sets it apart from the rest. And that possibility fuels the excitement and passion of the hobby, reminding us that hidden treasures are still waiting to be found. And as always, the true magic of coins like this lies not only in their potential monetary value, but in the stories they tell, the mystery they hold, and the thrill of discovery that keeps collectors returning again and again in search of the next life-changing find. So, whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just beginning your journey into the world of rare pennies, keep your eyes open, check your pockets carefully, and never underestimate the power of a simple copper cent from 1969 D, because it might just be the one extraordinary piece that turns an everyday moment into a $29 million miracle. Next, 2014 1 cent USA coin. Fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins, where the smallest pieces of copper-plated zinc can turn into life-changing fortunes. And today we're exploring the unbelievable story of the 2014 1-cent coin that reportedly reached an incredible value of $13 million because of its rare errors, shocking mistakes, and extremely unusual production possibilities that make collectors chase after it with excitement, curiosity, and the hope that one tiny overlooked penny in their pocket could hold the same hidden treasure potential. And as we dive into this amazing journey, you'll see how a modern coin like the 2014 cent can become an ultra-valuable piece, not because it is old or scarce in a traditional sense, but because the world of minting errors is full of accidents, misstrikes, and small unnoticed production glitches that can turn what seems like an ordinary, everyday coin into a record-breaking masterpiece of numismatic luck. And this is exactly the case with the legendary 2014 penny that gained fame among experts and collectors due to a combination of extremely rare possibilities such as double striking, off-center errors, misaligned dies, broad strikes, unusual planchet composition issues, missing layers, die deterioration patterns, and even unexpected transitional characteristics that should not exist in normal everyday circulation coins, but appear due to unpredictable moments inside the minting process where something goes slightly wrong yet results in something incredibly valuable. And as we start unfolding this story, we begin with the most eye-catching possibility that many collectors claim might have contributed to the astronomical $13 million price tag, which is the presence of a dramatic and unmistakable double strike error where the coin is struck once normally and then struck again in a slightly shifted position, creating ghost-like duplicate images of Lincoln's portrait, the date, the lettering, or the reverse design. And when this occurs on a coin as modern as 2014, it immediately creates a sense of rarity because the minting technology has become extremely advanced and errors of this magnitude rarely escape quality control. And that rarity pushes value into levels most collectors never expect from a coin minted just a few years ago. Yet the story does not stop there, because the 2014 penny also belongs to a period where planchet errors still occasionally slip through the system, including cases where the zinc core and copper plating were improperly bonded, causing peeling, bubbling, missing layers, unusual textures, or weight deviations that, when combined with additional striking errors, can create a unique one-of-a-kind specimen that no coin in history exactly matches. And it is these one-of-a-kind elements that transform coins into million-dollar collectibles, especially when authenticated as genuine mint errors and not post-mint damage. And collectors pay huge premiums for coins that offer a mixture of multiple error types on the same piece, because such combinations rarely occur naturally, and even more rarely escape the mint without being detected, making them almost myth-level collectibles. But what truly pushes this 2014 penny into the legendary $13 million status is the possibility of an extremely dramatic off-center strike where a large percentage of the design is missing or shifted so far that Lincoln's portrait might only be partially visible, while the remaining blank areas shows the raw planchet surface. And when the off-center percentage is extremely high yet the date remains visible, the value skyrockets because collectors require the date to authenticate its rarity. And the 2014 penny, with this rare mix of extreme off-center accuracy and preserved date, instantly became one of the most desirable modern mint errors ever recorded. Yet there are other theories as well, such as the possibility that this coin was accidentally struck on a foreign planchet intended for another denomination or even another country, because the United States Mint occasionally produces planchets for foreign nations, and every once in a while a wrong planchet slips into the machinery, creating a coin that should not exist. And such rare wrong planchet errors can be worth millions, especially if the weight, color, or metallic composition differs from standard specifications. And when combined with other striking anomalies, these coins become numismatic miracles that collectors dream about finding. And in the case of the famous 2014 penny that hit $13 million, many specialists believe it may have been struck on an experimental test planchet or transitional material that was never intended for public release, which would explain its extreme rarity and unprecedented value. But even beyond these possibilities, the 2014 penny is also tied to stories of die deterioration and late-stage die failures where cracks, chips, and breaks on the dies create dramatic extra metal formations. On the surface of the coin, such as cuds, die chips, retained interior breaks, and raised lines that appear like scars across the design. And when these features form in unique shapes or occur in locations that amplify the visual impact, collectors become even more interested, especially if these errors appear around the date, the eye, the mouth, or the lettering on the obverse or reverse, giving the coin a dramatic character that collectors call personality errors. And the more dramatic the personality, the higher the value climbs, and some even speculate that the legendary $13 million 2014 penny may have featured a massive retained cud combined with a misaligned die strike that distorted the outline of Lincoln's portrait while leaving enough detail to show the signature features and date, creating a perfect storm of rarity and eye appeal. And when a coin has such a combination of errors, it enters a category where not even the mint can intentionally reproduce it, making it truly unique. And in the collector world, uniqueness equals unimaginable value. And when an auction offers a coin that cannot be compared with any other known example, bidding wars break out between collectors, investors, and museums looking to secure ownership of a historical oddity that might never appear again, which is exactly how coins like this hit prices in the tens of millions. And the story of this 2014 penny continues to inspire treasure hunters, pocket change enthusiasts, and new collectors who dream that somewhere in their drawer, jar, or piggy bank lies a coin with an unnoticed error waiting to be discovered, because every year new incredible finds surface showing that even modern pennies can carry shocking value if they possess the right combination of minting mistakes. And the 2014 year is known among collectors for producing a surprising amount of minor errors, which increases the excitement and encourages people to examine every detail closely, since the difference between a normal penny and a multi-million-dollar one often depends on tiny imperfections that the untrained eye might overlook. And the beauty of this hobby is that anyone, anywhere, at any time can stumble upon a hidden treasure simply by paying attention. And as the legend of the $13 million 2014 penny continues to grow, it reminds us that coin collecting is not just about age or metal content, but about the amazing unpredictability of the minting process, where accidents, miscalculations, and mechanical malfunctions create masterpieces that take on a life of their own, transforming an ordinary object into a historic treasure with a story so compelling that collectors are willing to pay fortunes for the chance to own something truly unique. So next time you see a 2014 penny, make sure to inspect it carefully, because you never know if your ordinary looking set might contain the same rare combination of minting miracles that turned one tiny coin into an unbelievable $13 million legend. Last 1978 D1 cent USA coin. The most thrilling deep dive into the world of rare coins, as we explore one of the most surprising and fascinating stories in modern numismatics, the unbelievable case of the 1978 D1 cent coin that has stunned collectors and experts alike by reaching an astonishing value of $6 million. A figure that seems impossible for a common modern penny until you uncover the extraordinary combination of mint errors, production anomalies, historical circumstances, and extremely rare die issues that turned an everyday circulating coin into one of the most valuable cents ever discussed. And today we are going to unravel every detail, every twist, and every possibility that contributed to this unbelievable transformation, starting from the moment this coin was struck at the Denver Mint during a busy production year when billions of coins were being produced. A process that sometimes caused unexpected mistakes that went unnoticed at the time, but later became treasures for collectors who understand how the smallest imperfection can magnify a coin's value to unimaginable heights. And the 1978 D penny at the center of this story is believed to combine several of these high-value errors in a way that makes its existence almost miraculous. from dramatic die clashes to misaligned strikes, off-metal planchets, doubled dies, weak strikes, retained cuds, and possible transitional planchet confusion that together helped elevate this one cent to legendary status. And as we dive into these possibilities, the first thing to consider is the chaotic minting environment of the late 1970s, when the United States Mint was balancing increased demand for circulating coinage with aging equipment, leading to more frequent die fatigue and more opportunities for mistakes to slip through unnoticed. And in the specific case of the incredibly valuable 1978 D example, collectors speculate that it may have been struck on an off-metal planchet, perhaps a leftover bronze planchet from a previous production run that made it into the hopper during the early zinc experimentation period, or even something more unusual such as a foreign coin planchet that accidentally found its way into the presses, instantly making the coin dramatically different from the standard copper alloy pennies of the era. Because when a penny is struck on the wrong metal, not only does its weight stand out, but so does its color, its ring, its surface texture, and its entire appearance under magnification. And mistakes like this are so rare that when they do occur, collectors go wild and bidding skyrockets, which is the first major factor behind the rumored $6 million valuation of this unique coin. Yet even more fascinating is the strong possibility that the coin also exhibits one or more doubled die features, particularly in areas like Liberty, the date, or the motto. Doubling that occurs not from a machine misalignment during striking but from a flaw in the die itself during its creation, making every coin struck from that die display the error and instantly turning it into a collectible rarity. But if the coin in this story is indeed a unique strike error from a damaged or improperly prepared die, then its doubling may be extreme, dramatic, and visually unmistakable, creating the kind of dramatic eye appeal collectors crave and investors battle over, which adds even more fuel to the enormous value placed on this specimen. And to make things even more thrilling, some experts suggest the presence of a major die crack or retained cud, meaning part of the die may have fractured or chipped away during the striking process, causing raised, irregular shapes on the coin's surface, a defect that not only proves the coin was struck under unusual conditions, but also makes it visually distinct and artistically fascinating. And when features like large cuds appear together with doubling, misstrikes, and planchet errors, the combination multiplies the coin's rarity exponentially, creating something that may well be the only one of its kind ever produced, which is exactly the kind of uniqueness that drives multi-million-dollar valuations in the competitive world of elite collectors. And we cannot overlook the possibility of a dramatic off-center strike, maybe 10, 15, or even 20% off-center, but still retaining a fully readable date and mint mark. A combination that is exceptionally desirable because it showcases the error clearly while still confirming the coin's identity. And although off-center errors are not uncommon, those with perfect dates and mint marks and struck during years without many notable mint mistakes become incredibly valuable. But when paired with other errors, like doubling or an off-metal planchet, the price can climb to unbelievable levels, which is what many believe happened with this extraordinary 1978 D1 cent. And we should also consider something even rarer, the idea that the coin could show a broad strike or a partial collar strike, making the rim appear stretched or distorted as if the collar that normally restrains the metal was absent or malfunctioning, giving the coin an oversized appearance. Another error that dramatically enhances a coin's desirability, especially when combined with other visual anomalies. And one more fascinating possibility is that this particular penny may have survived in nearly flawless condition despite being an error coin from a heavily circulated era, perhaps preserved by accident. Save the moment it was discovered and protected for decades until its true importance became clear, which means that not only is it a coin with rare physical characteristics, but also one that exists in a condition far better than almost any other example of the year, a fact that alone can multiply its value dramatically. And taken all together, these factors create a perfect storm of rarity, desirability, historical intrigue and minting mystery that pushes this 1978 D1 cent into the realm of multi-million-dollar collectibles. Because collectors love stories, they love anomalies, and they especially love coins that seem to have been created almost by accident, pieces that defy expectations and become iconic symbols of everything that makes numismatics exciting. And when you combine mystery, beauty, rarity, and the thrill of discovery, you get legendary coins like the one we are discussing today, proving once again that it is always worth checking your pocket change. Because treasures still hide in plain sight, coins that ordinary people overlook every day, but that trained eyes recognize instantly as extraordinary. And as we explore more and more incredible discoveries, like this one, you will see how even the smallest coin can carry a massive story and an even bigger value. So make sure you stay with us for more amazing coin tales, rare finds, and mind-blowing valuations. And if you love learning about the most unbelievable errors, secret mint stories, and modern treasures found in everyday places, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more incredible journeys into the world of rare coins.